Hello, Jim here. I've been an investor and a trader for many, many years, going all the way back to the 80s. I've been in the markets pretty much the whole time, and I've seen really bad things and really good things. So we're currently in a weird time. We're getting a lot of messages from other YouTubers and pundits that potentially we may be heading higher, that the market may go up and up and up. I believe it's high greed factor. I kind of like to weigh how greedy people are being out there to kind of get a gauge of the market. I use Warren Buffett's statement, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And I think we're at one of those points. We have a lot going on. I want to talk about a few things that are coming up. And I also want to share with you two trades that I've recently have done that have been fairly good trades and fairly safe trades. These are cash secured puts. It's a little bit different than before. I'll share those at the very end. So be sure you stay until the end. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, now I've just set up a really basic document that I'm just going to use to be sure I don't forget any main points. Now, the biggest point that I don't hear in the mainstream media, I did see it on, I believe, Fox News yesterday morning about the Eastern port workers, the fact that they're going to possibly go on strike as early as Tuesday, which is October 1st. And that could have a huge hit to the market. I mean, it's a major headwind, and I'm surprised there hasn't been more talk about it. So keep that in mind. If it goes on for, a couple of days, it'll be still a fairly big impact. But if it continues well into October and November, it's going to be substantial impact. A lot of companies are actually diverting shipments to the West Coast because of it. Plus, it'll limit being able to get products. It'll even impact grocery stores. So just keep that in mind. And that could almost be like a black swan event. It could cause the market to have kind of a rough week. We may get a significant correction if they do start striking. And there's no end in sight for the strike. Also, the political craziness. It's going to hit a fever pitch here soon. If the Harris administration, or if we have a Harris administration, I'm thinking the Trump tax cuts are bye-bye, so we're going to have a major tax increase if, we have that administration. If we have Trump administration, I believe the oil industry and the energy industry didn't do real well during Trump's time. And I don't know why that would be. You would think it wouldn't be the case. But I see, again, some major headwinds getting through the election. I think once we're through the election into December, January, hopefully things will be beyond that and calming to a certain degree. And I do believe the economy is really struggling. It's the Fed now is talking maybe another 0.5 point cut in November and maybe even in December. So they would not be doing that if they weren't seriously concerned about employment and the economy in general. So, and then I've seen a lot of YouTubers and even pundits I typically don't watch news, but I did watch one or two shows out of curiosity. And there's a fever pitch about, maybe the market, because of what happened last week, is going to go up and up and up. I just want people to remain guarded. Don't take crazy risks. If you can close some positions at a decent profit, I would look at doing it. And I wouldn't put too much money on the table. Warren Buffett he's not put more money in play yet. He's waiting for a downturn or a market correction. He's looking to potentially pick up some bargains. And that's kind of what I'm doing too. I still have substantial amount of cash in my retirement accounts that I'll look at hopefully pick up some bargains. So just wanted to mention that. Again, it kind of scares me when I see so many of these other YouTubers pushing, it's going up, 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 and up. So I just wanted to get the word out about that. I also had two trades that I did recently on two companies that I really like, and I want to share those too. So the next part of this video, we'll be talking about those two companies. So be sure you stay tuned for the next part. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay, now I've opened up my planning worksheet that I share with my membership. I actually shared it this morning. If you're curious about my memberships, you can look in the description. I have 3 levels, 3 tiers. They're relatively inexpensive. I'm not going to go into detail here. I just encourage you to take a look. It may well be worth your while. So I provide this typically on Sunday mornings. So the last two trades that I did last week, I believe on Friday and Thursday, were both cash secured puts. Now, these are trades that I opened earlier in the year, one in July, one in January. And I just wanted to share these with you. So, yeah, even though I'm showing 927. So the first one is CLS. This is a company that I really like. And I did this trade initially on 724. So I've only had it open for 2 months, and I've rolled it several times now. So I rolled it on 927, which was Friday. It was a cash secured put at 45. It's been 45 the whole time, and I've been able to roll at 45, which is originally was like a 16 delta. It's currently 46.29, so it is out of the money. But I like the company if I can pick it up at 45. Actually, I don't think this 46.29 is correct. I do believe it's closer to 50 now. And I rolled it to 11.15, so just add another month. And again, it does, since I do want to own it and I like it at this price, it does cross earnings, but I was able to pick up enough that I don't really care about earnings. Unless earnings are so good that it continues to go up higher. But if they're not good and it drops, I'm fine with assignment. Now, what I did is I picked up 248 in premium, and that includes closing the previous position. The required capital is just the 9,000 minus the 248.58, and this is like a 21% yearly return. It's the way I just adjust it for the year. So I just take the premium divided by the required capital, and then I adjust for the year. So 365 divided by 49 days, it was 49 days out for the DTE. So pretty good for a cash secured put. And then the next one was TWLO. And this one I did back in January. And it's only one contract. So keep that in mind when you look at the amount of premium that I brought in with it. Now, I believe this was 926, not 920. No, actually, they were both yesterday. Or not yesterday. They were both on Friday, 927. And this was, again, a cash secured put, 62.50. I believe this is also out of the money. It was 60 at one point, but I believe it's like 64 now. And I rolled it 211.15.24, and I kept the same strike. So I just keep rolling these at the strike I like. And I don't believe 62.50 is overpriced for them either. So I've done, of all the rolls that I've done in the original trade, I've done 866. Now on the CLS trade, I did 697 in literally 2 months. And remember, this is one contract. So in one contract, I've been able to earn 866 in about 8 months, I guess. This time I brought in 195. Required capital of 6,054. Again, if 62.50 times 100. And I did like a 24% return. And again, with the 49 DTE, you can see the formula up here. So a fairly good cash secured put. I like both these companies. They typically have good premiums and good volume too, and open interest. And you can see here, if I always set goals, and I've done 1750 weekly, or my goal is 1750 weekly or 7,000 monthly. And I'm already at 7,198, and I have one more day of trading for September. So I beat my goal, but not by as much as I have in previous months. Now, let's jump over here. So let's look at TWLO. Well, let's look at CLS first. You can see it's got really good ratings. The earnings per share is not that high. Is high, and its PE is only 14. So it's not necessarily overpriced by any stretch of the imagination, considering what the PEs of some other technical companies. These guys do. We can actually go down and read their description, but they're a tech company. They provide supply chain solutions to North America. It operates through two segments: advanced technology solutions, connectivity, and cloud solutions. And the company offers a range of product manufacturing, and supply chain services. So They design, develop, and produce different software for supply chains. So they've done well. So let's look at their earnings, and they've done well with earnings. They've beaten earnings every quarter this year, and it looks like they're growing quite a bit in earnings. Now their growth is good, but not great. I mean, if you took out some of the leveraged FCF and the free cash flow per share growth rate, they would be. I mean, a C plus. I'd put it more at a B. So they're growing nicely. Profitability could be a little bit better, but they do have a 21 return on common equity, return on total assets. I'd rather this be in the teens, like 13, 14 or higher. But again, still doing quite well. And their debt is relatively, I believe it's very, very small. Debt is not an issue with them. So just overall good company. Next is TWLO, and we'll come back to it. And it's also a software company. Yeah, it's 64.66, so it's gone up quite a bit. If we look at their earnings, they've beaten earnings recently, and you can see by a significant amount. So again, and going forward, they look like they're going to be growing their year-over-year earnings quite nicely. Growth, let's see how they're doing growth. So they've got good growth. You can see here the earnings per share growth is amazing. Leverage FCF, which I'd say more about it, but I don't really know much about it. And they have, so it's funny, they're an A and the other was, CLS was a C, but the growth still looks pretty good. Now their profitability is kind of a mixed bag. They do have negative return on common equity. That may be because of a purchase or very high retained earnings. So their profitability is good, but not great. And then they also have very little debt. Again, another very good company. So both of these I don't own currently. I'd be fine with owning either one or both. So again, if I come back to my spreadsheet here in these two trades, I've been able to generate some significant amount of income off them. In my mind, they're not real risky, and they've always, again, have a lot of premium. Now, if we come over here and we look at CLS, this is what I do for my membership. So I share details. I share how much, what my return is, how much income I brought in, what the PE is, why I like the company. I also make some suggestions on where I would look if you're opening a new position with them. So I'm suggesting, even though I'm doing, 45, if you can pick them up at 40 to 42.50, you're doing quite well with it. And as always, be sure to do your own due diligence. I do share that in pretty much every message. Now, if I look at TWLO, same thing. I talk about how much I brought in, nearly $200. I brought in a total of $823. I talk about the PE. I talk about earnings, dividends, profitability, pretty much anything that I feel like my membership could use. And then again, I mentioned where would be a good point for a new trade to get in, 57.50 or 55. So, and then, people can ask comments. I do get a fair number of people who share that they also did the trade, and especially more so in Discord. In my middle membership tier, which includes Discord, and my coaching one also include Discord. There's a lot of people sharing their trades now in there, and other people coaching new, people who are trying new strategies. Some strategies that I currently don't do. I do have a whole section in my Discord about zero DTEs, and I have several members that are kind of learning from one person that's very experienced with zero DTEs. So, and the last thing I wanted to do is mention related to I call these my guardrails. They're kind of my guidelines. And this I also provide to my memberships. It's just a tab in my spreadsheet. And I talk about the puts, what kind of delta for I use different deltas for stocks, for ETFs. I also talk about, if it's a cash secured put for an account that has lots of cash, then you might want to do it differently. I also talk about what kind of DTE I like to use, also mentioned about good quality companies, why I turn things into spreads. And then I also talk about why I avoid making trades before earnings. So there's a lot of detail here. It's slightly different for calls. So I have different deltas for puts versus calls. And again, if you're running the wheel strategy, I suggest a higher delta. And then a different date range or DTEs for calls versus puts. But one thing I've learned, and probably any trader has learned, is at times it's better to take less risk, especially if there's growth companies with the covered calls. Don't any of these companies can jump big time, and then suddenly your calls are in the money. So then I talk about this whole piece of ranking trades, and all this is in here, and also my goals. I don't have much here in dividends, my checklist for picking companies, and whenever I update these, since my membership gets this spreadsheet, they get the updated information. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think we're headed into rough waters this week, or do you think we're going to have, and again, hit new records and go up and up and up? So let me know what you think. And as always, thanks for spending the time to watch this video.